What is up, F and True followers? GC Styles here of F and True Wrestling with my very first ROH pay-per-view review for ROH's Best in the World 6/26/2011 pay-per-view review. Now, the first pay-per-view I ever saw of ROH was back last September 11th when we saw the great tag team match between the Kings of Wrestling and Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, a.k.a. World's Greatest Tag Team. They tore the house off. That was the match of the night. It was a fantastic match that I enjoyed. Now, I was able to watch the Ring of Honor pay-per-view yesterday. I wrote down some notes, so I'm going to give this to you guys. Also, let me get right into it. We start the night off with Jim Cornette speaking about how wrestling has evolved over the last couple of years. Also, how the big news dropping that ROH will be going to the CW or to My Network 9, depending on which area you live in. And, talks about how, if you're not about wrestling, you can kiss his big white butt. First match of the night, we saw Colt Cabana take on Tommaso Ciampa. We see it was a really great match. I took some notes on it. We saw Tommaso use a running knee to Cabana in the corner, kind of like a face wash kick. We see Cabana went for a springboard moonsault met by Tommaso's knees. We see numerous close pinfalls. We see I don't know what this was called. It was a unique, like a reverse Boston Crab. Tommaso does a powerbomb to the knees, to the back for the win. It was a very good match. I'm sorry that I don't have enough information for you, but it was a very interesting match, and I enjoyed it. The second match of the night was Mike Bennett versus Jay Lethal. We see Mike Bennett come out. Jay Lethal got an amazing pop, his return to ROH wrestling. The fans chanted FTNA. The thing about that is, I don't know if they were chanting that because they were glad to see him back in ROH, if they were upset with his storylines that he was getting towards the end, or how he was being booked. But, as you know, New York fans are very vocal. I mean, we saw that back at ECW One Night Stand 06 when we see RVD versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. But we saw two well-executed drop kicks by Jay Lethal, then followed up by a suicide dive to the outside. Bennett did a running clothesline off the apron, diving clothesline off the apron, which turned Jay Lethal upside down and inside out. I'm going to show you folks what it's all about. No, I'm joking. We see Lethal hit his vintage springboard back elbow, kind of something reminiscent to what Tajiri does. Bennett hits a superplex off the top rope. Bennett goes for the elbow drop off the top, missing. Jay Lethal capitalizes, hitting his own elbow drop, pointing up to the sky, paying respects to the late great Macho Man Randy Savage. Hits the big elbow for the win. And for the next match of the night, we saw the no-holds-barred street fight between Homicide and Rhino. We see Rhino hit the Rhino. We see the Rhino driver, a.k.a. pile driver, on Homicide. Rhino gets heat from the New York City crowd. Homicide climbs up the rope and comes down on Rhino with a splash, hitting Rhino's knees. We see Rhino go for the gore and runs into the cutter by Homicide. Homicide grabs a table and symbols Team 3D and then flips off the New York crowd. Rhino goes for the gore, and Homicide turns it into a sunset flip for the win. Post-match, Homicide puts his hands on Prince Nana, only to turn into a gore through the table by Rhino. Fourth match of the night, we see the returning Steve Corino against Michael Elgin. Steve Corino does a nice high calf kick. They both exchange chops in the corners. Corino hits a nice back suplex. And we see a classic wrestling hold, abdominal stretch. Then we see on the outside, we see Corino go for kind of like a suicide dive through the ropes to be caught by Elgin into a Michigan Stampede, which is a running power slam for those of you who don't know, or Oklahoma Slam. On the outside of the ring, we see Elgin go for the cradle package pile driver, but it's reversed by Carino, and we see a unique Boston Crab in the corner ropes. The ending closing segments of the match, we see Elgin go for a series of power bombs, which leads to Carino constantly kicking out. We see him powerbomb him into the turnbuckle pads, then do a spinning powerbomb, sit-down powerbomb for the win. And then we have the next matchup. We see the World Television Championship defending champion Christopher Daniels versus El Generico, which this was a match that I was very much looking forward to see. As you guys know, if you've seen my other videos, I praised guys from the X Division, from TNA. I praised guys that came from ROH over to the TNA and wrestled in the X Division. Christopher Daniels went out and did his very best to defend the World Television Championship. So we see the match start. They're in the middle of the ring exchanging blows, followed by some knee strikes. El Generico hits some clotheslines, and with Daniels outside, Generico flies over the top rope. Genrico does flipping coast to coast, which I thought was insane. Daniels hits a brainbuster on the outside floor. Then we take direction back into the ring. We see Daniels go up for the BME, the best moonsault ever. In midair, we see Generico put his feet up, and Daniels hits his face on Generico's boots. Then we see them scuffling during the ring. We get to see Generico throw Daniels up on the top rope. And we see Generico hit his top rope brainbuster for the win and new ROH World Television Champion El Generico. Then we see a great fatal four-way tag team title match. Haas and Benjamin defending against the Kings of Wrestling, All Night Express, the Briscoe brothers. This match was fantastic. You know, it had so much great wrestling, so much action. If I was to go move by move, it would have taken me at least 2 to 3 pages. It was just so much action. I enjoyed this match very much. I love tag team wrestling to its extent. ROH is where tag team wrestling is, and I'm going to continue to try to follow ROH as much as possible and give you guys the reviews for this. But we see Haas and Benjamin retain in a grueling fatal four-way match. With post-match, we see the Briscoe brothers come out and beat down on the world's greatest tag team with steel chairs. The final bout of the night, which I'm pretty sure everyone was really looking forward to, especially myself. I've seen a couple of matches between these guys in the past. I've seen them as a tag team, and we saw the ROH World Heavyweight Championship title being defended. Eddie Edwards defend against Davey Richards. We start off with a great match, good wrestling and great technical wrestling on the floor, whether it was standing or on the mat. These guys knew each other each so well that it was kind of hard for them to try to hit their signature moves on each other, just because the fact is that they know each other so well. We see a Fisherman's Buster on Edwards. No, we see a Fisherman's Buster. Edwards hits a nice missile drop kick. We see great reversals into a cross arm breaker. Edwards puts an ankle lock on Richards, and then Richards rolls over and reverses it with an ankle lock of his own. Then we see a flurry of moves. I didn't know what to really call them. I was trying to keep up. There was just so much stuff going on at the end there. We saw different style kicks and kicks to the face. Davey Richards picks up the win and the ROH World Heavyweight Championship with a soccer kick kick to the face on Edwards. This match, this pay-per-view was very good for me. It opened my eyes because at first I really didn't follow ROH as much. And after this pay-per-view, there was at least 7 matches. And all 7 matches were amazing. That pay-per-view was 3 hours and 45 minutes long. We saw a post-match celebration by Davey Richards. He was crying. He was so emotional for his first ROH championship. and he thanked the fans, for following him and giving him a place to vent his anger and his aggression. And we see Edwards shake Davey's hand and give him a hug and raise his hand in victory. This match was at least 5-star match of the night. I don't really have anything really bad to say about this pay-per-view. It was very good. So biggest news out of the night, we've seen a new ROH World Television Champion in El Generico, and we've seen a new ROH World Heavyweight Champion in Davey Richards. So guys, please comment and subscribe on this video. Let me know what you thought of this video for my first ROH review. Hopefully I appeased a lot of you ROH fans out there. I know there's a lot of you. Hopefully I could follow this company some more, and hopefully over the next couple of months we will find out if Connecticut will be getting the ROH programming on the weekends on the CW and MyTV9. So for JC Styles, have a good night, and we'll see you back tonight with Monday Night Raw review.